ever get old getting that reaction? Does it ever get old?
No. I would like to hear all the girls give a Beatles scream, please.
I'm sterile now. That's a pitch I don't hear much in my profession. Absolute joy to be sitting with you here. This is fantastic. As you know, this is a podcast listened to billions of people all around the world. Don't laugh at that. That's just me. Hundreds of people around the world. But we have a little tradition, which is we start out, you introduce yourself, and I think you're familiar with the piece of paper there, and then we're off and running.
Hi, my name is Paul McCartney. And I feel wildly elated about being Conan O'Brien's friend.
Oh my God. That's it. Good night. Thank you. That's all I needed. Paul, let's dive right into it. First of all, this book is extraordinary. You took these photographs. I think you got a Pentax camera in 1963. I think you and all the fellas got Pentax cameras, but you were taking a lot of pictures, and then you forgot you had them.
I kind of knew I had them, but I thought I'd lost them. But in the 60s, a lot of people used to leave their doors open. It was all a bit hippie, and it was like, yeah, man.
That's your summation of the 60s, was hey.
That's all I remember.
That's all I remember.
No, so I thought, well, I lost them. But I was with a photo archivist in London, Sarah Brown, who was organising an exhibition of Linda's photographs. And during it, I just said, well, I took some pictures in the 60s. I said, but I have no idea where they are. She said, oh yeah, we've got them. I said, oh, great. Let's have a look. So yeah, it turned out there were like about 300 pictures.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Unbelievable. And it makes me think, what else do you have that you don't know about?
That's another story.
Well, there's so many photos to look at, and there's so many. I look through the book, and I adore this book, and I've been through it many times, and the photos take me in different directions. They really are spectacular. I wanted to start out with maybe technically not the most proficient photo, but one that I think is the right place to start, because you were new with the camera, you're trying something out. Let's put this up. And this is you playing, looking in the mirror. What does this bring back to you? Is this you toying with the camera, experimenting?
Yeah, I think so. Just the idea when you get the camera at first was to just take lots of pictures and then see if they turned out. And of course, it's not like digital. You had to wait.
Yes.
So you took them. And then they went, in England, they went to the chemists, we called it.
Right.
And they go down, they develop it, and then, about a week later, you get your pictures back. So yeah, I think this is me just seeing what I can do.
Right.
And if I could smoke at the same time.
That's very cool. I would like to point out that I think when I talk to young people, when I talk to my kids today, they have no idea about the limitations with working with this kind of camera. We're all so used to the phone.
Yeah.
We can see it right away. And as you said, these came in rolls of maybe 36 photos. You take them, you don't know, and you also, it's not autofocus. You have to figure out what the f-stop is. You have to know all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's a whole different world.
Yeah, it's, I like it.
Yeah.
But I say, it did take some getting used to. But we were lucky because we were often around photographers.
Yes.
To be taking pictures of us for this, that, and the other. And so you could talk photography to them, and you could say, what is the f-stop in this situation? What are you shooting? 400 ASA? Okay, well that will be. And some of the rogues would say, F8 at a fortnight.
Just screw with you, yeah.
Just to screw with you.
And also, they probably didn't want to give away a trade secret.
That's probably true.
Yeah. We have.
It was fun,
Yeah, I'm going to move us on because we have a bunch to see, and let's say hi to some of the lads. This is an amazing photo. This is Liverpool, 1963, and what struck me about this photo is that I'm so used to seeing photos where John and all of you are posing for the cameras or pulling a face or projecting that image. Because it's you taking the photo, John is very unguarded.
Yeah. I think that's the thing I noticed getting these photos back. That it's just, it's as if I'm not there. So he's unguarded. And I noticed during the exhibition in the book, he's got this little habit of not biting his nails, just got he does this all the time. So it's just great to be reminded of it. Because so long ago, I'd forgotten that he had that little, that's a John thing. So, particularly because he's not here, it's so lovely for me to see these memories and just remind me of where we were, what we did in those days.
You know what also sticks out in a lot of these photos, because there's a bunch of photos, and we'll see this, where I see sometimes nerves, a little bit of tension. And what's interesting is everyone in this room, myself included, we know how the story turns out. The Beatles, it's this spectacular success that's never been equaled in show business. We all know what happens. But especially in these early photos, you guys don't know yet what's going to happen. It's a mystery to you in these moments. And people are constantly saying to you, boy, you're a big hit in England. When's the bubble going to burst? And sometimes I see this really picking up steam that I see in some of these photos. Is it going to work out? How long is it going to last?
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. And what I love about them, he said modestly, is the innocence.
Yes.
Because we didn't know we were going to be famous, and we really wanted to be, but as you say, we didn't know, so there's this sort of, we're trying really hard. So if someone says, the photographers, hey, Beetle, come over here, you would do it. There was no sort of booty like, that's for you.
Yeah.
I think that comes over just all this early innocence of us.
There's a lovely one here. I absolutely love this photograph. And I feel like you're rapidly getting more sophisticated, and the blur,
the focus now.
Yes, yeah. But I mean, this is just a fantastic, and again, unguarded, I think.
Yeah, I mean, with the Beatles, we knew each other very well before all this happened. So, for instance, with George and with John on several occasions, I would suggest that we went hitchhiking. So, I knew George as a hitchhiking mate. And again, you're talking about we didn't know what was going to happen, but you didn't know if you were going to get a lift. So you shared all of that. You sit by the roadside, just cursing the driver that wouldn't give you a lift. and loving the lorry driver who did,
Yeah.
So that's my little hitchhiking mate.
It's funny that's because it's so personal for you. I often forget how young you guys were. George, the youngest, I think he's 20 here.
Yeah.
And you think about just how young all of you were. It's just, it's mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, I mean, 20 now, from this perspective, is like really young.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got grandkids older than that. But we didn't think it was young.
Right.
We thought we were kings of the universe. We smoked cigarettes, man. We had suits, eyes, guitars.
Yes.
We were cool.
Yeah. Thanks for clearing that up. I wasn't sure. Beatles cool or not, You're a Jerry the Pacemakers guy, but all right. No one's ever said that to you, and no one ever will. I think this next photo is a terrific photograph. It is, of course, Ringo. But look at, I just love the way you captured this moment. That's a gorgeous photograph.
Yeah, thank you. You know, as you said before, everyone was unguarded. So, with photography, what I learned to do was look for the light situations where there was something interesting. And Ringo, like all of us, actually, we were smokers.
Yeah.
And but Ringo would do this trick. Ringo was like suave. He had like the best car, and he would drink like bourbon and 7-Up. and when he was going on a date with a girl, he'd put 2 cigarettes in his mouth and light them.
Oh my God.
And then give one to the other. If he didn't stick to his lip. You know, that was difficult.
Yeah.
He was that kind of guy.
I've done that with gum. And, you know,
It's not quite so suave.
it's not the thing. No, don't try it. We have a photo here that I again, and what's nice here is he's such a pivotal character, especially in these early years in your life. And I know what a complicated life he had, and in some ways what a tortured life he had. And you catch him in this moment of he seems at peace and happy. And I think that might be because you were taking the photo.
Yeah, I was very happy to rediscover this picture, as I was with all of them. But something like this, it just reminds you that the story about the Beatles manager, coming to America and all that, he's just some guy. And we thought he was like very old. He was over 30. So to us, that was like... but he was a sweetheart, and he was gay at a time when it was illegal.
That's right.
So, we'd be able to have very interesting conversations with him, and he was very open with us. And he was a great guy, very nice man.
And I think, like you guys, a little overwhelmed. It got so big so fast. And I've seen it in different documentaries. I think you're catching it here, which is just no one. He ran a record store just a few years before, and met you guys, and then suddenly he's talking to the biggest people in show business, and they all want a piece of you guys, and he needs to figure it out, which is, I must imagine, overwhelming.
Yeah, but he handled it very well.
Yeah.
He got into that role quite easily. He'd been to RADA in London, the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, so he was going to try and be an actor. Didn't work out, but he had a sort of showbiz thing. He had a style which he would advise us with some tricks and